Well, good morning, good evening, good day, everyone. I'm Craig Whitney here, founder of the Legacy Forge podcast, back with episode number 10. That's right, number 10. We're on a roll, crew. We're on a roll. And today we've got a very special guest, a really good friend of mine who merges neuroscience with soul and alignments. Alexander Oxford, the founder of the Mind Paradigm and Spinal Practic Massage Academy, I should say. He's bridging bodywork, quantum physics, and human potential into one system that helps us leaders realign not just how they move, but how they are. Alexander, brother, welcome to the Forge.
Thank you for having me here, Greg. I've been looking forward to this for, I think, a couple of weeks that we set up this appointment, and really been looking forward to it, Craig. Thank you for having me on.
Beautiful. I'm loving this conversation already because what you're doing with the Mind Paradigm sits right in the heart of the Arate identity, embodiment, and energy alignment. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll just dive deep. Where did the first spark come from? When did you realize traditional massage or therapy wasn't enough?
Well, even before that, I was in debilitated pain from the age of 12. I was, for those of you who don't know my story, I was going to to play squash with some friends, and a teacher was just bringing us from primary school. And I just barely did one stroke, and I felt like someone came in with two machetes and stabbed me in the back and dragged them all the way down my legs, and I just froze. I could not move. And my friend thought I was possessed. He got pretty scared, so he grabbed the teacher, and they get a couple of adults, picked me up, put me in the back of the station wagon, as we used to do back then, and they took me home, placed me on the couch, and said, bye. Anyways, here I was, all these things going through my head. Now, as a 12-year-old, the values of a 12-year-old are very different to an adult. But for me, it was like, how am I going to play cricket again? Right? What am I supposed to do? And then the next thought came up, how am I supposed to go to the toilet right now? So I had to somehow gather resources that I never thought I had, to get myself on the hands and knees, because obviously I didn't really want to go on the couch. And as I was crawling, this is where, like right now, I can see is that there were quantum shifts that were happening in my headspace. But I started making some pretty massive decisions. At the time, you didn't realize that you were doing that. Okay, so as I was crawling to the bathroom, I was visualizing myself strong, healthy, lean, just my back being like massive and really strong, right? So that's all I could think of. And I'm like, I'm going to do whatever it takes to be that person starting right now. What I believe was one of the biggest things is that I said right now. I'm going to start it right now. I didn't want to start it tomorrow. I didn't want to start it. I wish I should have, or anything like that. I just said, I'm going to do whatever it takes starting right now. I always remember it was a big, loud right now in my brain. Okay, that's it. It was a pivotal moment in my life, because from that on, I became inquisitive. I became weird. The questions I would ask would annoy a lot of people, but excite some others. The ones that were getting annoyed by my questions weren't the ones that wanted to research more. The ones that got excited by my questions, they became great mentors, because they were going down the rabbit hole like I was, because that's what made them great mentors, because they didn't stop their questioning. So they welcomed my questions. And I tell you what, some of the great people that you meet along the way, when you're asking questions to get results. Does that make sense? Okay, so I'm having some troubles with the internet here for some reason. Am I back on? Am I back
there? I can see you.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I can hear your audio's perfect. Your video's a little bit sort of, but yeah, we'll get through it.
Yeah, no, that's okay. So there were the things.
The joys of technology.
Exactly. I mean, we've got to adapt to it. We can't just take it for granted. Just like everything else, we can't take everything for granted. We have to always be on top of it. Always got to use our consciousness wherever we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there were the things.
And ladies and gentlemen, just for clarification, this will.
Sorry, go ahead.
Pivotal moment. So I'm hearing mentors. I'm hearing questions. I'm hearing curiosity. You were driven by the pain of suffering.
Yeah.
And that suffering drove your curiosity to make a decision.
Yeah.
It starts now. I need to change. Did you know what to do, or you just made that decision that, hey,
I
I'm just going to
had
go with it, go with my
no
gut?
idea, man. I had the one thing that I had is that I had total unquivering faith that I was going to get through this. That 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 had no, I had no question. Like right now, I'm changing my life. I had I didn't have any doubt in my mind that I knew that I was going to get through this. And and you have a look at that formula, and this is that formula needs to be placed in anything we do. I didn't know that at the time because when I established a business later on in life, I didn't have those things. Right? I had to say, hang on a second, I knew the formula as a kid. I need to apply that in everything I do, not just in the pain paradigm. Okay. Because I tell you what, you learn things from pain that you'll never learn from anything else. And the thing is, most people are indoctrinated to move away from pain. They're indoctrinated to numb it. They're indoctrinated to rip it out, take it out, do whatever it takes. And I tell you what, it's one of the most real things about humanity is going through the pain, because it teaches us so much about our character. It teaches so much about what we can do beyond what we think we can do. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Pain's an excellent feedback. It's a feedback mechanism of to
100%.
not do something, or that there's something that's, hey, I need help. There's an alarm bell
Yeah.
going off here. Fix it. Don't
Yeah.
medicate me. Fix it. It's
Yeah.
the body's natural response, right?
Yeah.
So what is it about pain? So because we've been conditioned a bit in society to medicate, the microwave solution, you get a headache. The natural thing is go to the cupboard, pop 2 or 3 Panadol, have a lie down for half an hour and be done with it, or keep pushing it. Hey, what are some other ways, or how does pain teach us in different
Well,
ways?
the number one thing that pain is what it's your body's screen to connect you with the body again. Most of us are trying to run away from our symptoms because we've been indoctrinated that they're bad. Symptoms are bad, so therefore let's run away. And it's like, no, this is your body screaming. It was communicating to you. It was being subtle. It was being nice. It was giving you little hints, little niggles, and here and there of the adjustments that you need to make to be able to how to work with your body. However, we get in the way of ourselves. Okay, so when we get in the way of ourselves, the body has to scream louder. So when you're in that immense pain, you need to just stop. I need to ask yourself, if your body could give you the words right now, what would it be saying through this pain? What's it telling you? Okay, and when people say, I don't know, what all that is your disconnect. Okay, it's no, you don't have time for that. You do not have time for disconnect. A lot of people will tell you don't have time for pain. No, you don't have time for disconnect. This is the time right now. Your body is screaming at you. The most important feedback mechanism that you have is your body communicating to you right here, right now. It's not doing it tomorrow. It's not doing it yesterday. It's doing it right here, right now. What a great opportunity right now just to stop and really, really listen. Okay. And this is, it's a great thing. This is the beauty about pain. It gives you all the answers you want, but you need to stop, ask it questions, and listen, and really put your value system has to change as well, because a lot of the times where we place our importance usually isn't important. Okay. Having your importance as the first thing to do is your car repayment. Okay. Is nothing compared to what you need to do with your body. And a lot of people they put their values everywhere else, and they forget about that. Hang on a second. The most valuable resource that I have is me. That's the thing.
That's right.
I drive the car. I make the house happen. I make these repayments. I attract this money. I attract all this stuff. It's not the other way around. So when we do that, we become powerful forces. Okay. We don't get in the way of that powerful force. You're already born that way. Bob Proctor says you were born rich. Okay. And you were. The thing is, we get in the way of that. We put limiting beliefs on top of that. We start driving our lives with negative emotions. But people don't even realize that a lot of these negative emotions are just here. They're not even negative to begin with. They're just guidance systems for us to contain our power. But then what happens, we feel this negative emotion, and now what we're doing, we're now going through a frequency through this negative emotions, and it's just diverted ourselves. And now we're living our life through the frequency of a negative emotion instead of the frequency of our power, which these emotions are here just to help us, guide us through. Hey, you hit a boundary, not I've got to work through anger. Okay, so I know we're going into a deep dive here, but this is the importance of listening to your body, because a lot of people just put judgments, listen to somebody else's limiting factors on what's going on with the body. And we're finding more and more through quantum physics and quantum mechanics that every single thing that's possible is happening right here, right now. But the one that is happening right here, right now for you is the wave that you decide to jump on. That's a huge thing.
And late Bob Proctor also mentioned a lot about self-image. So it's how you see yourself in the inside is a direct reflection of how you see yourself on the outside.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So if you're hurting on the outside, generalization alert, you may be something ticking or hurting on the inside. I'm actually going down the rabbit hole. Bob Proctor's sort of teachings.
Exactly.
Which
you think about the way we talk, right? We point outside of ourselves, right? Thinking that whatever it is that's hurting us is out there, right? Okay. And Greg Braden said this quite well. He goes, we're thinking that the field is out there, but the field is actually starting from here. This is what's generating our field of consciousness. And when we're seeing things, we're only seeing our self-image. Everything becomes a mirror. So it's great that you brought that up, because your self-image is now mirrored everywhere around you, and your body is feeling that. If it's destructive to you, your body will tell you immediately.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So we've got to get our egos out of the way, saying that we want the things that destroy us. And your body's going, no. And then you numb it and you keep doing it, and you numb it and you keep doing it. Then you take substances to numb it even more. So we can continue in that destructive path. And then we put our hands up. I don't know what happened. Okay. Because we've been so disconnected. Okay. And a lot of the times it's our fault, because the $1 trillion indoctrination system that we're living in has taught us this is how we work. But we're finding more and more through science that it's not working. All these things that are happening in our bodies, and all these things that are happening in our life, are not working because we're not paying attention to what's important. We're paying attention to what we've told what's important.
Yeah, and focusing on what's next. What's next?
Yeah,
absolutely. Do more. Strive to have the illusion of what we've been told.
Yeah.
And then once we have that illusion, we're not satisfied. The body's not satisfied. Then we're being in a state of presence, of unfulfillment, of suffering, of addiction, of filling the gaps. Yeah. Totally. I get it.
You got it.
You often say that, yeah. The be do have classic coaching model. I love it. I live by it.
Yes.
You often say the body is a living field of frequency. What does that mean for someone stuck in stress or pain every day?
Okay, so going back to what I said, so on an everyday level, we need to always be still in our minds, because we distract ourselves all the time, and we get diagnosed with all sorts of things like ADHD and things like that, which is another distractive part of not being still and really listening to what's going on. And with generations and generations, we become really good genetically on distracting ourselves, and we blame the kids for it.
AD, and I'll use the term auditory digital, right?
Yeah.
Auditory digital, right? Devices.
Yes.
Hyper, I forget the
last
kinesthetic.
Word. Yeah. You a lot of ADD is all kinesthetic, because they're always moving around, and let's distract myself with I wonder what this knife does to this table. It's more interesting than doing mathematics, right? It becomes a distractive thing for us to not feel. And it doesn't just happen in this it's been happening generationally, that the more we do that as adults, the more we're going to be affecting our next generation of not being able to be still. And in that stillness, you start hearing things, you start seeing things, you start paying attention to things that your body or your unconscious, your subconscious, whatever you want to call it, has been communicating to you but you've been distracting yourself, moving around and doing stuff. Okay. So that stillness, and this is why meditation becomes one of the most important factors of our life, is that we have to be in our stillness. And at first, when people start, they say, I can't meditate, or I can't be hypnotized, or I can't be this and I can't be that. Already they're making their program of I can't stronger, and not realizing that, just like if you ever go surfing and you want to hit a wave, you're not going to do that the first time you get out. You're going to get smashed. You go into a meditative state, it could be a second that you last, especially if your mind's all over the place and scattered. But it doesn't mean you can't do it. It's that you've done it for a second. Okay. Then you go do it again. And you go do it again. Now, in hypnosis, we call this fractionation, right? So the more you do it, the better you get at it. The more you do it, the better you get at it. It's like everything else in life, right? The more you do it, the better you get at it. The thing is, the more you practice stillness, the more you're going to have more control consciously over your life. And the things that we can control are thoughts, states, and behaviors, nothing else. A lot of people want to control their external environment. They want to control somebody else. They want everybody else to change. I'm like, are you struggling to change? Yes. Well, what are you going to do to change somebody else? Right? So the biggest change in that is that we've got to flip the script, and we've got to focus on, okay, if I want the world to change, I've got to master it myself. If I can master myself going through change, then I've got the possibility of mentoring somebody else to do it. But if I'm not going to put the effort in, if I keep saying, I can't do it, but everybody else has to do it for me, right? What hope does anybody have, right? So it's about mastering that state of stillness. Because when we become still, we can listen. We can really, really eavesdrop to what's happening internally. Once we know that, then we know what to change, and then change from what to what. Okay. And changing from what to what becomes a big thing, because a lot of people say, you got to change, but change to what? So going back to what you were saying with stress, a lot of the times we're stressed because we're not doing the things that we truly want to do.
We are generally out of alignment. We're doing the wrong stuff, focusing on the wrong stuff instead of being in the moment. And instead of working on that moment, so they say repetition is the mother of all habit. Yes. Perfect practice makes permanence.
Yeah.
That's another very cool.
Yeah. And perfect practice is a great one, because, again, what are we practicing to do? We need to have a vision. We need to start with the end product first. Does that make sense? Because a lot of people want to I just want to release this emotion. Well, into what? Because it's energy, and it's something's holding this for a reason. It's not because it's a random. It's holding this for a reason. You got all these things that we've organized and stored in our memories, and they're stored and they've got this stronghold on them for a reason. I like to call it static. Okay, but it's there for a reason. The thing is, if you don't know the direction that you want to go, that's the number one thing we need to work on, is that if all these things didn't exist, who are you? Who's this person
exactly
that you want to be? So we need to start backwards, as in we need to start with the end in mind. What is it that, if nothing was in the way, where would you be in 20 years' time? And if you fulfilled absolutely everything that you wanted to fulfill, how would you be feeling right now? So we've got to go into that state right now. So when you said perfect practice, that's what we want to be perfecting our practice in, on being that person that we truly want to be. That if you want to have all these things, well, why do you want to have these things? Think about, if you did have them, how would you be feeling? So that state, you need to start now and perfect that state, because then you're resonating in that wave, and you're resonating. And if you have a look at, going back to quantum physics, that state that you're in is going to resonate perfectly with that same frequency of everything around you. So you're going to be in that frequency state. If you have all these negative emotions that you're going in for, guess what you're going to be resonating with? Other opportunities to have negative emotions. It's just, you're in that emotional wave. It's just a wave that you're riding. And it keeps repeating. Sorry? Yeah.
Exactly. Now, for those hearing quantum and some other fancy words getting thrown around, and there's definitely leaders out there who don't know what this sort of stuff is, and thinking it's just abstract. How does quantum physics show up in their real world leadership?
In the real
When we
world,
talk leadership.
absolutely. So when you get up and you get into a bad state, for example, okay, a state is how you're feeling, okay. Now, how do you approach someone when you're angry? How do you approach someone? Do you approach someone with patience? Do you approach them with care? Do you approach them with nurturing? Or do you I don't want to hear you. I don't want to talk to people. That in itself, so what you're doing, you're in a state that's going to be creating behaviors that's going to lead to events that's going to prove your state right. Okay. Has anyone ever gone into an argument to prove themselves wrong? Okay. So this is one of the biggest things, is that when we're in a state, that state is always going out there looking for it to be right. Okay. A lot of people call this the reticular activating system in your brain. So wherever you're looking for, you're going to be looking for evidence to be right. And you will always be right, regardless. If you're adamant that this is the way, and you'll find it everywhere, even though it may not exist, you'll see its existence because you'll be creating it through your state. This is why people argue so well about opposite points. This is what happened. No, this is what happened, and so forth. We start as kids in the playground, and then we're adults in a different playground doing kid behaviors because we're still trying to prove ourselves right. So therefore, if this is a skill that we have inherently, that we're proving ourselves right, the question is, what do you want to really prove yourself right in your life? But really,
Because we are right in our own
all the
opinion.
time. Yeah, absolutely. But what did you latch onto of what you want right in your life? If you want to have crap in your life, guess what? You're going to find it everywhere. If you want beauty, you're going to find it everywhere. It's what you have decided that is right. And you can change it right
Yeah,
here, right now. That's what we mean by the quantum change, is that when you change a decision, all of a sudden, things look differently. We've all been there, right? When we have this anger and all of a sudden it's gone. Like we've completely resolved it. And then you look at life and it's, I've missed out so much because anger got in the way. And that's
exactly.
that's a quantum leap right there, because now your state is linking with all these other things that are already present. They're already present. It's not like they just popped out of nowhere. Okay. For you, they did. For you, they popped out of nowhere, but they were already existing. That's what quantum physics is about. It's understanding that at every moment, there's an infinite number of possibilities that is happening in your life. It's almost like your life has infinite dimensions. And the one that you're in is the one that you've decided that is right for you. Even if you don't like it, you've decided that it's right. Okay. Because most people would rather be right than happy. So
Exactly. And we are right. It's in our own opinion. As Napoleon Hill's always.
Everybody wants to have, but my opinion is very important. And I'm like, well, have you explored your opinion? And is it getting you the things that you truly, truly want? Because if it's not, then it's not valid for you. And if it's not valid for you, how many other people do you think it's valid for? Like my opinion is, I've got to make sure that it's really good for me beforehand, because a lot of people, you need to listen to my opinion. A lot of people don't even listen to their own opinion, let alone somebody else's. So we get caught up that we want to be listened to instead of doing the listening. Yeah,
exactly. Now, you and I both see the body as an unconscious mind. How do you help someone read their body like a story?
Yeah. So your body, number one thing is that your body is here to create the behaviors, to go out there to get the things that you've asked it to do. Okay, and this is a big, big thing. Every cell of your body is now listening to your mind. Now, Deepak Chopra did a great work with this, is that every cell is eavesdropping to the words that you use. Now, the question is, what instructions are you placing to your body? And these instructions are really important. Are they coherent? Are they all aligning up to getting the things that you want? Or are they in conflict? Okay, and a conflict could be as easy as this. Okay, I want to be making millions of dollars a month. Okay, so you got this instruction, but you have a belief that no matter what I do, I can't make money. And you have another belief that all assholes, excuse my language, are rich. Okay. And I hear this every day, right? And it's also portrayed in all sorts of media, right? Now, if you latch onto these different messages, this becomes in conflict. Now, if every cell of your body is listening to, I want this, but I want this, and I want this, right? It's in conflict now. And it's stressful. It's massively stressful to each cell of your body. Imagine, you're in an environment you are internally, or you go into an environment where you want your air conditioning to be at like 23 degrees. Okay. And you set it for 23 degrees. So it's nice and comfortable for you. Okay. But at the same time, you have all these ovens on that are creating all this heat, okay, on one direction. You can imagine that. Now that's increased the temperature, okay, and you've got the sun beaming from another direction into this apartment, which is increasing the heat. So what do? We don't pay attention to any of that. We're blaming the air conditioning that it's not putting it to 23 degrees. Now, then you start becoming more aware. So, okay, I've got these ovens on. I need to put the blind down. I need to do all these things to set the environment. So it's all these different instructions are coming into the room, changing the whole environment. Now, it's the same thing internally. What are you doing with your internal environment? So it's all coherent to the things that you want. Okay. And this is what the feedback that the body is giving us all the time. You tell me you want this, but then you're telling me that you can't do this because of this. And you're telling me that this can't happen because we don't, no, because arseholes. And then is that what you want? You want to become an arsehole? So okay. So you're getting all these conflicting information. And this is where we always want to delve into what's important. These are your values lists. And let's find out that they're all coherent. Because when you're riding a wave, okay, you don't want the wave coming from here, and then the wave coming from here, and then the wave coming from here. Okay. Now, when we go into the water and you have all this current going all over the place, we have lifesavers putting our flags in between so we don't get caught up in the rip and get drowned. Okay. Now you've got to do that yourself internally, is to make sure that you're not getting all these incoherent messages, because your body's going to suffer from a lot of stress that way.
Exactly. So what simple somatic or breathing exercise would you give, say, a CEO, a leader, a parent, before a high-stakes decision?
And this is why breathing is so important, because it starts with our stillness, yeah? So what happens is that we need to pay attention to our internal state. And to even do that, we need to stop, okay, being in a relaxed spot. And I'm not going to teach breathing in the way that you do, Craig. You teach breathing in an exquisite way, okay? But the way I do it, I like to fill my lungs up as much as I possibly can. Okay, so therefore I'm breathing from my stomach. Okay, take a nice big, huge breath. And then I like to hold it. Okay, I like to hold it for 4 to 5 seconds to begin with. And then as I hold it, then I slowly breathe it out. And when I breathe it out, I then make sure I suck my stomach all the way in, belly towards the spine, to breathe it all out. And I do this a few times. Okay. Now, if you've never done that, you may get a little bit dizzy at first because you're putting so much oxygen into your. But what you're doing there is that you're inviting stillness, and you're putting your number one value into your body, which is breath. Without that, nothing works. And what you're doing also is you're recognizing your physical body. See, a lot of the times people think, oh, mind here, body here. But no, it's one unit. The mind, your consciousness does not exist without your body. Okay? And this is a great thing that they found, they found in quantum physics, but they're saying that, in modern medicine, you're just body and the consciousness is just an effect of that. It's not really anything. Spirituality, no, we're spirit. Okay, then we've got consciousness. The thing is, all of that, your spirituality exists in your body. If your body doesn't exist, it'll just go somewhere else. Okay, your consciousness governs the body, but at the same time, without the body, the consciousness isn't there. Okay, and it seems like a paradox. However, we need to nurture both. And the great thing about breathing is that you're doing that. you're putting your value into the number one thing, which is you.
Exactly.
Just do it.
And you've said the spine,
Yeah.
bring the spine. It tells the truth faster than the mouth. What's that mean?
Yes.
Explain that.
The spine is what? So can you? They just broke up a little bit. Sorry, Craig.
You said the spine tells the truth faster than the mouth. What's that mean?
Okay, so it's the central nervous system. Okay, so your central nervous system creates all the messages going from your brain into every cell of the body, and then the feedback that all the cells give the brain, again, and they all go through the spinal cord, and it's way quicker than what we can communicate, and that's why the stillness is so important. So when we're saying what we're saying, what is it that we're saying when we're saying that? Okay, that's what I like to always say to people. It's like stop for a while, pay attention, really listen before you say your words, okay? Because your words have meaning to your body. But if you use words that are against what your body's trying to tell you, then you need to stop. Again, it's that stillness. So the spine does information way quicker than we can get it out of our mouths. So therefore requires us to really listen. But the spine's so important. A lot of us don't really realize when we have the back pain, as we like to call it, that it's not just a pain in the back, it's your body usually struggling to stabilize the spine, which is your central nervous system, which is your body attempt to protect it, your body's attempt to correct it. And sometimes, okay, protection is number one thing that your body's always doing. Your brain is the most protective mechanism, and it communicates to your cells, which communicates to this amazing thing called the fascia. And the fascia is wide everywhere. It's wrapped around every single thing, your heart, your organs, your glands, your spine, your muscles, your fibers of the muscles, okay, around your nerves, around your blood vessels. This fascia is everywhere. And when you're in the protective mode, it's almost like strangling. The body's in a restrictive mode, or the blood flow is not flowing in the way that you want it to. Okay, what we're trying to do, we want to take a pill to try and change that. However, it's that restriction because the body's in a protective mode. So once the body gets into a safe mode, then that fascia becomes fluid instead of hard as a rock. And it's all about protecting the body. And the number one thing it wants to protect is obviously its organs and glands and its central nervous system. Hence why we do that. Okay, everything becomes that's one of those most protective things that we do, and it's not something that we think about consciously. As soon as you hear something, your body gets into that protective mode, and that's the brain protecting us, because the body, without it, our consciousness doesn't exist. Okay, so it's really protecting our consciousness. Now, the great thing about the spine, the more your central nervous system is expressed, the more your consciousness is going to also be expressed. And we can go down a whole nother rabbit hole here with the adaptive life system. However, that's in simple terms. You keep your spine well. You're getting that central nervous system communicating well with the rest of your body. Your consciousness has optimal ability to perform at its best as well.
So what does it look like when finally someone collapses the gap between who they perform and who they truly are with the spine?
That's awesome. Great use of words, the collapse. You've done some quantum physics, okay? Because it's collapsing, okay? So what finally happens, yeah? Some people might say that the light bulb is turned on. You get that, oh, wow, I can't believe I used to think that way. It's people can't go back. They just can't go back in the way they used to think, okay? So we just collapse the whole wave function as you mentioned, that collapse of the gap, okay? Because the gap is riding one wave, and now you've decided, no, this one is the one I want. This one makes more sense. This is the one that's actually aligned with what I want. So now the other one just collapses, okay? And here you are thinking, wow, that was actually quite simple. I was torturing myself thinking that these emotions are what governed me. I was thinking that it was the belief, and it was part of my genes, and we come up with all this stuff, and it's like, it was always me in the first place. all I had to do is pick the reality that I want to be in. And when I do that and make that decision, the crazy thing is that the wave that you have internally in your past and the wave that you have in the future completely change and aligned with your new decision. And that's the awesome thing about that collapse. The whole timeline collapses into a brand new one.
Exactly. So you work pretty much at the intersection of physics here, physiology, and purpose.
Yeah.
Keep it
I've
simple.
been doing that all my life.
Yeah. What does legacy mean to you through
Yeah.
that lens? You're merging all three together.
Yeah. Very different to what it used to be. So for me, legacy is about who am I choosing to be today, not what am I leaving behind. I used to think it's about what I'm leaving behind. Okay. However, time and space only exists in the way that we put them in our minds. It doesn't really exist. Time only exists right here, right now. So when you start looking at the only thing that exists is right here, right now. What legacy am I leaving right here, right now? What am I imprinting right here, right now? Not tomorrow, not yesterday, but right now. Because my fingerprint, okay, or my conscious print, or whatever you want to call it, I'm leaving it here. It's happening right here. And guess what? The sands of time, just like any other sand, you put your foot in the sand, guess what? It just washes it away. You can't think that you're putting an imprint here and it's going to last forever. You're putting the imprint here, right now, and it's something that you've got to be doing every single moment of your life. That's what legacy is for me. What am I doing right here, right now, to be the best I can do so I can give the best service and serve others at my highest capacity.
Beautiful.
That's how I see legacy.
Now, if energy can't be destroyed, only transferred, then leadership in its purest form is an energy transfer. What energy do you want to leave printed in those that you touch?
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because this is the law of resonance. Yeah. So wherever we go, we resonate. Okay. So what I love, one of the things I say to myself in the morning when I sit down and write in my journal, I am happy and grateful that I vibrate in the frequency of total health, total wealth, and total prosperity right now. So much so that each cell of my body resonates in such a way that anybody around me heals instantly. So that's, for me, my superpower. Okay, I guess it aligns with that, yeah, is to be able to be the person that can heal anything, okay? Anything around me, people just have to think about, I'm going to go and see Alex, and already they start to heal. That's the sort of resonance that I want. That's the superpower that I wish for, and actually you wished for, but step into it now. Every day I actually step into it. How that resonates, I have no control over. Okay. However, it resonates in me every day stronger and stronger because I step into it every moment. Does that make sense?
Every day I'm stronger. Yeah. It comes with belief, self-belief. And every day I am stronger and stronger. I'm stronger than yesterday, today, in that moment. Yeah. So, brother, what I take from this conversation, what I take from this conversation is that transformation isn't just mental. It's quantum. The overarching level is quantum. When you change the signal of quantumness, the system reorganizes. When you change the identity, the universe mirrors it back. Self-image, inner reflection, outer reflection, so forth. Bob Proctor, rest in peace.
100%.
Brother, you're not just teaching healing here. You're teaching leadership at the frequency of truth. Something that leaders, they're on a shakeable foundation, and we need to bring that foundation back to a solid foundation of truth. Any final thought to that? Benefits everyone. Growth. Gift to the benefit of self, gift to the growth of others, and gift for the greater good. Would that be fair to say? Beautiful. Well, brother, thank you for joining us on the Legacy Forge. If this conversation stirred something inside, and no doubt it would have, share it. Share it with someone in your circle that needs to hear this today. Check us out on all the platforms, Spotify, Apple, and YouTube for the video feed. Until next time, thanks for jumping on and joining us today, Alex. I really appreciate it. And let's focus on building a new quantum. Let's forge this new energy, and let's ascend ourselves and take other leaders with us. Thank you very much, brother. Appreciate it. Till next time, guys. See you later.